to the Football Tribe UG channel. Robert Kesakos is the usual suspect. I'm more than late because I was trying to consume as many UEFA Champions League highlights as I could before coming on here, following what transpired last night in that dramatic match day 8 of the UEFA Champions League. For those of you that managed to follow those events from last night, we were on here and we did follow the events as they unfolded. But it was a beautiful, beautiful stuff to watch for those of you that were part of it. So really, a very, very interesting night. So many results we had not seen coming. Others just simply lived to the expectations. So very, very interesting things we got to witness from last night. But yeah, it was a dramatic night as Benfica got that fourth goal that they needed to advance to the playoffs when they beat Real Madrid by 4-2. So Kylian Mbappe once again with a brush on the night as he sent, I think, his individual tally to 11, although my count seemed to put him at 12, and I'll need to sort of double check on that one. But yeah, and then when it comes to, we'll be talking about the draws, the playoff places and things like that. When it comes to all things UEFA Champions League. Okay, I think I found what I was looking for. Anyways, so yeah, it was entertaining. It was electric. It was end-to-end football as you expect from the UEFA Champions League. Arsenal making it 8 out of 8. Liverpool putting 6 past Karabag. And last night's broadcast kicked off with me literally with my hands on my head. Why? Because I was following up on events, and there was an almost goal-scoring moment that put me sort of in that kind of position. So yeah, really very, very interesting stuff. But I hope you're all good. You're all good to follow up this with me. Okay. So yeah, that's the kind of night we did experience. Mohamed Salah scoring a free kick. Pavlidis on target. Goalkeeper Trubin making all the news for the right reasons as he scored that fourth goal for Benfica. Manchester City beating up against Galatasaray. Then we had Inter Milan leaving it late against Borussia Dortmund. So really, so much did happen on the match day 8 of the UEFA Champions League. All 18 games are kicked off at the same time, and that's why it ended up the way it ended up. Anyways, I hope you're all doing great. Thank you, Pedri. Thank you so much, Emokol, Gilbert. Thank you so much to every one of you that managed to be part of last night's encounter or last night's broadcast that we did witness. Arsenal conceding 2 goals for the first time in the competition on a match day, even though that wasn't enough to deny them an 8th victory, which is 18-8. So all that, we'll try to digest as much as we can in this broadcast. So do indulge with me as we try to go through it all. Barcelona had to grind it out against Copenhagen and won that game by 4-1. So Lamine Yamal, scored to make it 2-1 after Robert Lewandowski had scored to make it square. When Barcelona had gone a goal down, very early on in the game, and things like that. So the question is, where do we start it from? Where do we start it from with? You know, where do we go from here? You know, where do we go from here? Really, in regards to this, I'm trying to make sense of the playoffs round, but come on. But I'm yet to understand it entirely. That's the thing. I'm yet to understand it entirely. Then Rafinha from the penalty spot and things like that. So when it comes to the goal scoring charts, Kylian Mbappe, yes, Kylian Mbappe has 13 goals. So yesterday he scored a brace, which put him to 13 goals. He came into match day 8 with already 11 to his name. I mean, that's just brilliant. Hurricane with 8, Haaland with 7, Antonio Gordon of Newcastle with 6, Gabriel Martinelli of Arsenal with 6, as well as Victor Osimhen 6, Javi Barnes 5, Fermin Lopez, Gruzetta, Rashford, Vitinha all have 5 goals. So really, that's how the scoring charts look like. Looks like it's a runaway for Kylian Mbappe after scoring 13 goals in 18 fixtures of the UEFA Champions League. He just knows how to put the ball into the back of the net. So yeah, okay. In terms of other statistics, Arsenal scored the most goals of the league phase with 23, conceded only 4. Barcelona, Bayern Munich all scored 22, Paris Saint-Germain 21, and Real Madrid with Liverpool scoring 20. Most possession was PSG with 64%, Barcelona with 61%, Man City with 59, Bayern Munich with 56, Real Madrid with 56, Chelsea with 55. Passing accuracy, Manchester City with the 91.4%, PSG with the 91%, Chelsea with the 90%, 89% for Bayern Munich, Barcelona 89%, Bayern Munich have 89.8%, which is 90% really. Barcelona, Liverpool, all with an 89 percentile when it comes to some of those key statistics there. In terms of assists, Bayern Munich's Michael Olise has 6, as well as Real Madrid's Vinicius Junior. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang of Olympique Marseille ran out with a 5, Adagula 4, Szoboszlai 4, Lamine Yamal 3. So yeah, good morning, Pedri. How are you this morning? I hope you're doing okay. Most attempts on goal is Kylian Mbappe's of Real Madrid. So yes, give it was. What did I say for Barcelona? The scoreline. You said Barcelona would win by 4-0. Unfortunately for you, they did concede fast. I thought my prediction had been a 3-2 victory for Barcelona. Like I said last night, we did not have any perfect scores, but we all got 3 games right and 3 games wrong in terms of our predictions for those results. In general, in terms of wins, draws, and losses there. For those of you that are wondering what we are talking about, we put up 7 games for prediction. That was on Tuesday night for our Tuesday night broadcast, and I and Pedri made predictions for those respective games. The first game was between Napoli and Chelsea, for which Pedri said it would end in a 2-2 draw. I went for a 2-1 victory for Chelsea, but Chelsea won that game by 3-2. The other game was PSG versus Newcastle. Pedri said it was 2-1 for PSG. I said 3-1 for PSG. Looks like we all got that one wrong because it ended in a 1-1 draw. Barcelona versus Copenhagen. Pedri said 4-0 for Barcelona. And I said 3-2 for Barcelona to win. Looks like we are all wrong in terms of the perfect scores, but Barcelona at least still won. Inter Milan versus Dortmund. Pedri said it would end in a 1-1 draw, while I went for a 2-1 victory for Inter Milan. Inter Milan won that game by 2-1. With the direct free kick being scored by Di Marco in the 84th minute, I think. Manchester City versus Galatasaray. Pedri said Man City would win by 2-1. I said Man City would draw by 2-2. While Benfica versus Real Madrid, Pedri said Benfica would win the fixture by 3-1. But we know just back, Man City won their game by 2-0. Benfica beat up against Real Madrid by 4-2. I said Real Madrid would win the fixture by 2-1. So it looks like in terms of games that won, we all got three. Pedri got Barcelona, he got Manchester City and Benfica right, while he got it wrong for Napoli, PSG, and Dortmund. I got right at the Chelsea victory, Barcelona win, and the Inter Milan win, but I got it wrong for PSG, for Manchester City, and for Real Madrid. That's in relation to our predictions for those fixtures. This is Vangra. Vangra says, "Wow, very nice. I'm getting football lectures from Ngolo Kante." You mean to say I look like Ngolo Kante? Okay. Pedri says, "Here create a points system. If you get a score right, you get 5 points. You get a goal. You get goal difference. If you get goal difference, 3 points. If you get the team win, is 2 points. If you guess a team's goals amount, that is 1 point." Pedri, that we had discussed this before. That would overly complicate the system. I wanted us to keep it simple. It's either you win or lose. We said for a perfect score prediction, it will be 3 points, and for every win, you would get 2 points because there's no points for draws and losses. So basically, that's how we had put it: 3 points for a perfect score, 2 points for any win if you had given a team to win. So we will start it from the Premier League. Yes, so that will begin on the weekend for match day 24 of the Premier League. You say, okay, so that's how we'll be looking at it. Anyways, guys, to the fixtures themselves, and guys, bear with me here or run with me. I'll need your engagement when it comes to those playoff places, the playoff around who is playing who and who do they meet. Anyways, Monaco versus Juventus. That one ended in a goalless draw. Ajax got beat by Olympiacos by 2-1. Arsenal beat up against Kairati Almaty by 3-2. Athletic Bilbao lost by 3-2 against Sporting CP. Sporting CP scoring a late winner in that one. But just to give to you the goal scorers for that particular game was Ohain Sunsets did score to give Bilbao the lead, while Diomande scored to make it 1-1. Then Gruzeta scored to make it 2-1, and then in the second half, Francesco Trincao scored to make it 2-2 for Sporting CP, and then in the 4th minute of stoppage time, Santos did score to win it for Sporting CP there. Then Bayer Leverkusen, first, Atletico de Madrid lost to Bordeaux Glimont by 2-1. What a result for Bordeaux Glimont. What a tale of events there for Bordeaux Glimont, who in their final 2 games of the UEFA Champions League, that's match day 7 and match day 8, beat up against Manchester City by 3-1, and then beating up against Atletico de Madrid by 2-1. What a tale that is for the Norwegian side. So we will never go for a draw because we can get we can go for a win, or maybe if I said 1-1 or now, yes, for a draw you also get 2 points. If any draw, if you predict a draw, you get 2 points. If it's a perfect score prediction of a draw, you still get the 3 points. Yeah. So what I meant that you do not get points for a draw is if, let's say, you predicted the win and then the game ends in a draw, or the other team or the team you predicted to win then loses. That's why you do not get any point whatsoever. I hope that highlights it. So really, I mean, I did not expect Bordeaux Glimont to go away to the Wanda Metropolitano and win a game of football, and yet they managed to somehow do it with Alexander Soroth scoring in the 15th minute to give Atletico de Madrid the lead, while Jovold scored to make it 1-1, with Hodge in the second half scoring to make it 2-1 for Bordeaux Glimont to win that game by 2-1. Then in the other game, Barcelona put 4 past Copenhagen. Dadason scored in the 4th minute to give Copenhagen the lead, and Barcelona needed the second half. through Robert Lewandowski, Lamine Yamal, a penalty from Rafinha, and Marcus Rashford to wrap up the 4-1 victory for Barcelona over Copenhagen, who had a goal ruled out by VAR. That goal had been scored by Pereira in the 89th minute. So beautiful game of football there. Pedri can also help us, give us an overview of what he made of that second half performance from Barcelona, because they did rise to the occasion, as we would have expected them to on a UEFA Champions League night at the Camp Nou. Then Bayer Leverkusen beat up against Villarreal by 3-0. Tillman scored a brace in that one in the 12th minute and the 35th minute, while Grimaldo scored the other to ensure that Bayer Leverkusen won that fixture by 3-0. Then Benfica is where we had a dramatic night of football. For all the drama that we did witness last night, Benfica versus Real Madrid was the epitome of that drama, because Real Madrid took the lead after the half-hour mark when Kylian Mbappe scored to make it 1-0. That header of Asensio's cross. And then Sheldrop did score to make it 1-1 in the 36th minute. Then a 50th minute goal in the stoppage time of halftime of the first half, ensured that Benfica went into halftime with a 2-1 lead thanks to a penalty by Pavlidis. That's the Greek, striker. And then in the 54th minute, Sheldrop once again scored to make it 3-1. Now, when it was 3-1, Benfica were guaranteed of advancing to the playoff places. But then, in the 58th minute, Kylian Mbappe scored to make it 3-2. That 3-2 scoreline meant that Olympique Marseille were the ones advancing at the expense of Benfica. But then Benfica decided they had other ideas. By the 92nd minute, or the second minute of stoppage time, Raul Asensio was getting his marching orders, so he got sent off, just as much as Rodrigo Goes also getting sent off 5 minutes later, both players being booked twice before being given their marching orders. And then Benfica win a free kick, and then Trubin, the Benfica goalkeeper, who had done tremendously well to keep Real Madrid at bay on the other side, went on to score to win it for Benfica by 4-2, so that Benfica advanced to the playoff round. Thibaut Courtois made some big saves. There's one save that he made around the 25th, was that around the 20-something minutes? There, very, very incredible stuff. Thibaut Courtois did well. You'd think, had it not been for his heroics, perhaps we would have had an even big scoreline for this particular game. But wow, what a game of football. Based on the highlights that I've been able to set my sights on, it was a very, very entertaining game, really, that I would pay anything to even watch the full replay. So that was the result from there. And then Borussia Dortmund lost to Inter Milan thanks to a free kick in the 81st minute by Francesco Di Marco, as well as Diouf, who scored in the 4th minute of stoppage time to ensure that Inter won that game by 2-0. Then in the other game, Club Brugge put 3 past Olympique Marseille. Not the kind of result that I would have expected of Olympique Marseille, but yeah, that means Olympique Marseille lost their final 2 games of the UEFA Champions League, because previously on match day 7 they had lost to Liverpool by a similar scoreline 3-0. So Diakon, Van Mant, as well as Stankovic were the goal scorers for Club Brugge, as they put 3 past Marseille. Then Tottenham Hotspur through Rando Kolomwani and Dominic Solanke in the second half squad as Tottenham Hotspur beat up against Eintracht Frankfurt by 2-0. Xavi Simons had a goal ruled out by VAR on the day there. And then Liverpool put 6 past Karabakh with a brace for Alexis McAllister. Mohamed Salah with the strike of his own from a free kick. Fran Vitz, Hugo Ekitike were among the other goal scorers, as well as a 90th minute strike from Federico Chiesa. there to ensure that Liverpool also finished in the top 8. Manchester City put to pass Galatasaray thanks to Brad Erling Haaland and Ryan Cherki's first half goals were enough to win them that game, with Jeremy Doku providing both assists in that one. Then Chelsea, another dramatic game against Napoli, because Chelsea took the lead through a penalty by Enzo Fernandez. Then, of course, Vergara scored in the 33rd minute to restore parity for Antonio Conte's side, was facing his former bosses of Chelsea, or his former side of Chelsea. Then in the 43rd minute, Rasmus Højlund with a brilliant tap-in to the near post made it 2-1, and then it was a 2-1 lead for Napoli at halftime. That's the kind of result that they would have needed to go through. But like I told you in the preview, I had never been convinced that Napoli were capable of winning that game unless Chelsea had been so shambolic to get the result, because Antonio Conte, for some reason, does struggle in the UEFA Champions League. So a second half burst from Joao Pedro in the 61st minute and the 83rd minute, respectively, with Cole Palmer providing a burst of assists there, was enough to ensure that Liam Delap's side won the fixture by 3-2. Then Bayern Munich, thanks to goals from Jamal Musiala and Harry Kane, were enough for them to win that fixture against PSV Eindhoven by 2-1. But Ismail Sarabia had scored in the 78th minute to restore parity, or to cancel out Jamal Musiala's goal before Harry Kane scored what turned out to be the winning goal on the night. Pafos put 4 past Slavia Praha. Nonetheless, those goals were at least a goal or two shy of Pafos to be afforded a place in the playoff round. But yeah, they did well to beat up against Slavia Praha by 4-1. Slavia Praha had received a straight red card around the 1 hour mark for Boril. Yes, there. And then in the other fixture, Union St. Cloisy beat up against Atlanta by 1-0. That goal scored by Kalalili. There. And then Newcastle and Paris Saint-Germain shared the spoils in a 1-1 draw. Ousmane Dembele missed a penalty in that one in the 4th minute, thanks to a save by Nick Pope. Kivica Kvaratskhelia, who had to be withdrawn before halftime, provided the assist for Vitinha in the 8th minute as PSG took the lead. But 2 minutes, but in the 2nd minute of stoppage time of the first half, Joe Willock scored to make it a 1-1, with Dunban providing the assist for that one. So those were the run of results from the 18 fixtures of the UEFA Champions League, in as far as last night was concerned, in as far as everything that you needed to know went down, you know. So we're going to look at is that how it is set up? Should be. Anyways, we're going to look at the playoff rounds, but before we get to the playoffs and how they've been set up, here's how we are going to go about things. Or we will first have a look at the table, the UEFA Champions League table, as we know it, and then take it from there, you know, in regards to who finished where on those standings. We know that Arsenal, following their 8 wins out of 8, finished top of the league phase with 24 points. That means what? More extra money made for the Arsenal. Remember, it was a home fixture. So anyways, it is what it is. Bayern Munich finished second with 21 points after 7 wins in 8. Liverpool came third with 6 wins and 2 losses at 18 points. Tottenham Hotspur fourth with 17 points. Barcelona fifth with 16 points, as is the 6th placed Chelsea and the 7th placed Sporting CP and an 8th placed Manchester City, all at 16 points. That means the Premier League has 5 teams in the top 8. They have their champion in Liverpool. They have Arsenal, who finished second. They have Tottenham Hotspur. This is a UEFA Europa League winner. That's how they got to the Champions League, but they finished 17th on the Premier League log. Manchester City finished third in the Premier League. Chelsea finished fourth. So that's quite the tale. Then Barcelona were the champions of the Spanish La Liga as they won their 28th Spanish La Liga. So they are in the top 8. Bayern Munich were the champions of the German Bundesliga, while Sporting Lisbon were the champions of the Portuguese, top flight Premiership. So that means that out of the top 5 leagues in Europe, you have 2 teams that did not make it to the top 8. One of them did not make it to even to the playoff places. That's Napoli, the champions of Italy, while PSG, the champions of France, finished 11th. So in 9th place is Real Madrid at 15 points, as is an Inter Milan with in 10th place with 15 points. 11th is Paris Saint-Germain with 14 points. Newcastle with 14 points. In 12th place, Juventus with 13 points, as is the 14th place Atletico de Madrid. Atlanta, apologies on that. Atlanta 15th with 13 points. Then Bayer Leverkusen in 16th place with 12 points. Borussia Dortmund with so you have in the knockout phase playoff places, you have the teams that finish between 9th and 16th. Those are called seeded teams. And then for the knockout phase playoff for unseeded teams, you have Borussia Dortmund, who finished 17th with 11 points. Olympiacos with 11 points in 18th place. Club Brugge with 10 points, Galatasaray 10 points, and Monaco 10 points, as well as Karabakh with 10 points, who finished 18th, 19th, and 20th and 21st respectively, and 22nd for Karabakh, and then Bodo Glimt with 9 points, and Benfica with 9 points in 23rd and 24th respectively. Teams that got dumped out straight or sent packing were Olympique Marseille, Pafos, Union St. PSV Eindhoven, Athletic Bilbao, Napoli, Copenhagen, Ajax, Eintracht Frankfurt, Slavia Praha, Villarreal, and Kairat Almaty there. So beautiful, a table that you have there. So then we head to what is called the knockout phase. Come on. Now, Jesus Christ. I'm trying to make sense of this playoff, round table. I do not want to mislead people in any way whatsoever. So you'll indulge me as I look to find the right table in regards to how teams could play. Okay. Meanwhile, tonight the UEFA Europa League is on, so do not miss out on that. That is coming your way as well. Okay. Okay. All right. Let me see. Let me look it up. Guys. Just enlarge with me in a bit. I have some information, but I just need to confirm that playoff round, just to make sure people are not misled. Oh, wow. Okay. We all know it's the road to Budapest. So this is how teams will play in the playoff. this is how teams are expected to play in the playoffs. Jesus Christ. Interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. Anyways, Champions League. Okay. All right. All right. Here's how teams will face off with another for those playoffs based on the information that we do have. Okay. Where do we start? We start now. Oh, come on. Really? Guys, at the moment I take a pause, that means there's a highlight I'm looking at because, like I said, it was 18 games played on the night. I could only watch 3 games live. For all the other games, I've had to, play catch up and, leverage on those highlights in regards to, things going the way they went. So let's see. According to the UEFA website, these are the playoffs as we should be expecting them. Monaco will play Karabakh, PSG, Newcastle, Galatasaray will be up against Club Brugge, Juventus, Atletico de Madrid, Bodo Glimt take on Benfica, Inter versus Real Madrid, then Borussia Dortmund against Olympiacos, Atlanta versus Leverkusen, okay. With that, I'll end up mixing them up. If I use that table, if I use that table, I'll end up mixing them up. Let me not use that one. Okay. Let me not use that table. Okay. Yes. So Atlanta versus Bayer Leverkusen, Borussia Dortmund, Olympiacos, Real Madrid, Inter, Bodo Glimt versus Benfica, Juventus, Atletico de Madrid, Club Brugge versus Galatasaray, Newcastle, PSG, Monaco versus Karabakh on one side. On the other side, so those are the playoffs in regards to what our expectations will be for who advances. So, and then after that, we'll go for the draws because then you'll have whoever advances between Monaco and Karabakh will have the possibility of meeting either Chelsea or Barcelona. Whoever advances between Newcastle and PSG will have the chance of meeting either Chelsea or Barcelona. Whoever advances between Galatasaray and Club Brugge will have a chance to meet either Tottenham or Liverpool. Atletico de Madrid versus Juventus, whoever advances will have a chance to meet either Tottenham or Liverpool at the round of 16. For Man City and Sporting CP will be waiting for whoever advances between Benfica and Bodo Glimt or Inter Milan and Real Madrid. Remember, on many occasions, Real Madrid have met Manchester City. So I would love to see that fixture again. Last season, Real Madrid knocked out Manchester City at the playoff places. Then whoever advances between Olympiacos and Borussia Dortmund will meet between Bayern Munich and Arsenal. Leverkusen and against Atlanta will meet Arsenal or Bayern Munich. So in there, I would want to see Bayern Munich versus Borussia Dortmund at the round of 16. I'd want to see Arsenal versus Bayer Leverkusen. I think they are the stronger side or have been a bit better. Then Real Madrid, Man City, Sporting CP versus Benfica. Yes, that's the kind of fixture that I would want to see for the round of 16. I want to keep these things interesting. I would want to see Tottenham versus Galatasaray and want to see Liverpool versus Atletico de Madrid. That means Atletico de Madrid get the better of Juventus. I'd want to see Chelsea versus PSG at the round of 16, and then Barcelona versus Monaco at the round of 16. So that's what I would want to see. Now, there's a possibility, anyways, there's a possibility of Bayern Munich and Arsenal meeting up again. So, guys, excuse me. That's the kind of night we had. Kai Havertz back with a banger. I gave you the results from the Arsenal game. Now let's try to dig in deep for some of those fixtures, really, or what we made sense of last night. First of all, the game between Arsenal and Kairat Almaty. I must sing praise of Kai Havertz. He looked sharp, even though he was just returning in action for the first time since when? In 4 months. Because 4 months, 5 months. September, October, November, December, January. Of course, he got injured in August. So for a player that was returning to the playing turf for the first time in 5 months, I thought he played really, really well. He looked sharp. His interplay with Victor Gyökeres, the ones he made into the final third, were really, really a joy to watch. Victor Gyökeres looked sharp. He looked very much involved. He missed some opportunities. There's a cross that was put in by Mazlou Skeli, which I thought he should have scored, but he stepped to it, put it over the bar instead. Although he scored, like I said, and again, the way he scores, Kai Havertz finds him quickly with that quick pass. He uses his strength to put the defenders off, and he fires in a very, very strong shot. So he looked brilliant in that. Then Ben White provided the assist for Kai Havertz to score. Again, beautiful. He carries the way he carries the ball, the way he dribbles past some players before taking on the shot was brilliant. Kai Havertz, Gabriel Martinelli tapped in off Victor Gyökeres' assist, which was intended for a tap in for a goal because Kai Havertz had made the layout for him. Gabriel Jesus thought he had scored. He had scored, but that goal was ruled out for offside in the 80th minute. For the penalty by Jorginho, I thought Ricardo Carafiori, that's not a kind of foul that he needed to make to cost his team a penalty. But I do not know. Sometimes, for me, it does feel like, and this has nothing to do with Ricardo Carafiori in particular, but sometimes you get the feeling, I don't know, these players, do they bet these games? In the sense of the other team will score, in the sense of this will happen in the game, conceding a penalty. I mean, some of those decisions look clumsy by players for themselves to get themselves on the wrong side of things. I keep saying this. In a world of football where we have VAR, you can only hope to get away with so much. One of the reasons as to why we had so much criticism of the officiation that did transpire in the in the recently concluded Africa Cup of Nations that Senegal won, is that on a given number of occasions, versus Tanzania and versus Cameroon, Morocco should have conceded a penalty, but they did not give those penalties, and particularly one as blatant as that of Brani Mbeumo in the quarterfinals against Cameroon. Now that the way when you commit such a foul in the box, you can only hope that VAR turn a blind eye. But if you're not confident that you have VAR on your side, then what makes you commit such a foul, a cynical foul in the area? I looked at the moment. Ricardo Carafiori does not need to pull the player because even if he goes on to score, it's still very early on in the game. It's the 6th minute of the game. So what? Let him score. Give the goalkeeper a chance to make a save. Take a bet on the goalkeeper that, look, unfortunately, this one has gone past me. Deal with it. That's why you have a goalkeeper in goal, But they make these fouls because the way he pulls him, it's like he's thinking, oh, I'm going to do it and get away with it. Well, he did not get away with it because the referee got summoned to the monitor. Now, you may get away with it in real time, that the referee may not see it straight away. But in the world of VAR, be rest assured, the referee is going to get someone to the monitor and you'll get what you deserve. Fortunately for him, he was not the last man, because if he had been, that would have been deemed denying a goal scoring opportunity, which gets you a red card. So I thought it was clumsy. Anyway, he was withdrawn off at halftime, and he paved the way for Piero Hincapi. I do not know the cause for the change, but I get the feeling it was one of those things that they had pre-planned. Like Mikel Arteta spoke about the incident of Kai Havertz. He said it was a pre-planned thing for him to play only 45 minutes. He would have loved to play or to continue playing in the game, but I thought it was the right decision to make. When a player is returning from 5 minutes through from 5 months out through injury, he gets the opportunity to start a game. 45 minutes was enough for a warm-up, because the funny thing about football or sport is that, and I take this from my days of playing some level of football. It wasn't professional football, but this is back in my days in school. You'd go and play, a game, and then because the game is entertaining, you're like, you want to walk away and leave the others playing, and you want to walk away, but you keep telling yourself, let me continue for an extra more 5 minutes, more 10 minutes. And in those extended minutes, that's when you get injured. And I remember getting a recurring knee injury that I eventually just decided to back off from the game. I just decided to back away from the game, and I switched to volleyball. So should I have persisted? Maybe, but the point I'm trying to make is that if Mikel Arteta and his team had chosen to change their minds and throw him back on the second half, that's when things could get unfortunate for you, and then he gets injured again. So I thought it was the right thing to do for him to be withdrawn at halftime, to bring on Martin Odegaard, then Piero Hincap. I think maybe they did not want to risk, given that Carafiori was already on a yellow card. They brought on Piero Hincap, who did well, and Christian Mosquera did well. I thought Miles Lewis Kelly looked okay. Christian Nogard has really impressed. Ebeleche Eze, that was a beautiful game from Ebeleche Eze, I thought. He did enough to find his teammates in spaces. The passes in between the lines, he was making his passes quicker. He did not hold on to the ball too much unnecessarily. He had some attempted blocked shots. Overall, he looked really, really sharp. He looked good. He looked comfortable. He looked confident. So he did so many things right. Arsenal could have scored more in that game, but the Kairati Ahmad goalkeeper was up to the challenge, although Arsenal also fired the blanks. They put some of their attempts very, wide off the mark. Noni Madueke was suspect of that on numerous occasions, because Arsenal had 11 shots on target. They had 10 shots off target. So that clearly tells you. Whereas Karabakh had only 2 shots on target and 2 off target, one being a penalty from Jorginho, and then the other being the goal scored by Ricardinho in the 4th minute of stoppage time. Now, the goal for Ricardinho, again, it was a lapse in concentration. Pierre Hincapi not tracking back. Amaz Luis Kelly just washed on. I thought he could have gone. Run on and put some physical presence and pressure on the opponent. Don't give him a free run to it. So I thought they did not do that. So, but the second half felt a bit of a drop off of Arsenal's control in the game and overall stamp of authority on the game. I thought, and unfortunately, I do not want to blame it on anyone. I do not think it had something to do with Martin Odegaard, but you felt that with that change, because the way Kai Havertz approached things was, of course, different from the way Martin Odegaard went about things. And in fact, I've already seen, Arsenal fans clamoring for an attacking trio. They want a midfield of Martin Zubimendi, Declan Rice, with Kai Havertz at the tip of that midfield, with Bukayo Saka, Leandro Trossard, and Victor Gyökeres leading the lines. That's the kind of attack they want. Let's see how Mikel Arteta goes about his selection for the team. Let's see what Mikel's selection of the team will be for the game over the weekend when they take on Leeds United. For match day 24, they play away to Elland Road. Not an easy place to go. United will tell you just as much. Then So we'll see how he sets up. And then after that game against Leeds United, which will come, I think, on 6 p.m. on Saturday, they'll have a game on Tuesday in the reverse fixture against Chelsea for the EFL Cup semi-final. So how he goes about that will be really, really interesting to see because all games are important. Yesterday, he made 11 changes from the team that played over the weekend. Kepa Arrizabalaga was in goal, Maz Luis Kelly at left back, Christian Mosquera alongside Carafiori in the centre back. Right back was Ben White, who wore the captain's armband for the first half. Midfield, like I said, it was Christian Nogard, it was Kai Havertz, it was Ebeleche Eze. Then up front, you had Martinelli, you had Victor Gyökeres and Noni Madueke. So that's a kind of team that is capable of winning you a game. Now, over the weekend, expect to see a different team altogether. Expect to see the returns of Bukayo Saka, Leandro Trossard, perhaps Gabriel Jesus. I do not know whether you will go for Victor Gyökeres. I do not know. Expect to see the return of Martin Zubimendi, Declan Rice. Now, the question for Arsenal, and this is going to rage on for the entirety of the season, is around that number 10 pocket. Do you go with Odegaard? Do you go with Ebeleche Eze? Do you go with Kai Havertz? That's for Mikel Arteta's, headache to decide who starts in that role. Then when it comes to the back line, of course, expect the return of Saliba, Gabriel Magalhaes, and the likes of, Jurriën Timber, and then maybe Pierre Hincapié at left back. So that kind of shape with, David Raya in goal. So, by the way, David Raya is partly to blame for the goal Arsenal conceded against Bayern Mbeumo. Yes, we do fault Martin Zubimendi for that blind pass, but when you look at the positioning of David Raya, once William Saliba plays that ball downwards to Martin Zubimendi, David Raya should be leaving the middle of his goal to tilt towards the right-hand side of the pitch to create that playing channel for Martin Zubimendi. But I thought that was a lapse in concentration for him on that movement. So I hope the team, it's one of the mistakes that they did, pick out for fault over the weekend. The game between Chelsea and Napoli, I thought against Scott McTominay plays as a very confident player, goes about his business really, really well. I was really, really impressed by him. Rasmus Højlund, if somebody told you that he was a flop at Manchester United, you'd say, no, you're talking about a different player because he looked sharp again yesterday, even though they did not win. Joao Pedro, he's in the form of his life. He's banging in the goals. Really, really, I think when I look at his statistics this season, he's doing really, really okay. Joao Pedro there for Chelsea, bought quite expensively. From Brighton and Hove Albion. Let's see what his statistics for this season say. But I thought he looked sharp in the UEFA Champions League. 5 games played, 3 goals. In the Premier League, he has 8 goals with 3 assists. That's a 16-goal involvement already in 2 competitions with an assist from the EFL Cup. I thought he scored against Coventry City. Anyways, maybe not, because Garnacho scored a brace in that one. So yeah, that's what you get. I think that's about it for the UEFA Champions League nights. The other game, okay, before going to the other game, Napoli, I thought defensively they looked a bit vulnerable. They did not contend well with Chelsea's, speed coming forward. Then the other game that I was keeping tabs on was the PSG Newcastle game. PSG created goal scoring opportunities. They were just not clinical enough. And Newcastle dug in deep. They defended well. They played with a low block and looked to exploit PSG on the counter. So we'll have to wait and see how things go for them in the long run. But yeah, what a crazy night of Champions League football. A beautiful, beautiful football there. Real Madrid. the most successful team in Europe, they are having to play another season in the playoffs. Like I said, majority of teams would have wanted to avoid the playoffs because they add 2 extra games for you. So you can imagine what that means for some of those teams that did finish in the those playoff places. If you have responsibilities elsewhere, depending on the cup competitions that you're engaged in, particularly for Newcastle, who have a game against Manchester City next week on Wednesday. In fact, let's see, when are those fixtures dubbed for? Because they should be coming next month, the playoffs. I need to find out. Jesus Christ, how long does this thing take, Lord? All right, so, so that means you have a game in the EFL Cup, then you have 2 games in the UEFA Champions League that you ideally would have wanted to avoid. But it is what it is. It is what it is. So, guys, the UEFA Champions League knockout phase play will take place today. So, what I gave you in those sort of head-to-head fixtures, that's not like the actual fixture. It's who will, if they advance, who they may face off at the round of 16. So the draws are coming tomorrow. Somebody says, Adriano says, crazy Benfica match, crazy indeed. Meli says, hello, man. Hello to you too. Good to have you on the broadcast. So you have seeded teams that are 8. That's Real Madrid, Inter, PSG, Newcastle, Juventus, Atletico de Madrid, Atlanta, and Leverkusen. And then you have unseeded teams like Dortmund, Olympiacos, Braga, Galatasaray, Monaco, Karabakh, Bodo Glimt, and Benfica. So that's what you should expect. So that sort of head-to-head that I had given you is not the actual fixture, but it's to tell you the sort of the organization of how teams that advance who they could face in the round of 16. So in case I misconstrued that, please accept my apologies. So the draws will be conducted on Friday at around, I think, 2 p.m. Friday the 30th of January. The draws involve teams finishing 9th to 24th place. The top 8 sides in the league playoff, okay, that's already known. And then let's see if we can find out the dates for. Okay, this is how the seeding is going to happen, or between the unseeded versus the seeded, or seeded pairings versus the seeded. So Real Madrid or Inter Milan will face off with either of Benfica or Bodo Glimt. Now, guys, forgive me for being cynical on this one. But I would love to see Real Madrid versus Benfica all over again. Home and away, playoff place. I would want to love that fixture. I would want to watch that fixture again. Then Inter Milan could also face between Benfica and Bodo Glimt. So that's for the pairings. This is according to the UEFA, our website. They say knockout playoff draw, league ranking pairings. So it has seeded pairings and unseeded pairings. So Real Madrid will face off of either Bodo Glimt or Benfica, and Inter Milan will face off with either Bodo Glimt or Benfica. Meli says, can Galatasaray win against Club Brugge? I do not know. But then you have PSG or Newcastle. They'll face off with either of Monaco or Karabakh. I'd want to see PSG against Karabakh and Newcastle against Monaco. Then you have Juventus or Atletico de Madrid will have to face off with either Galatasaray or Karabakh. Then, guys, let me hope I'm not mixing these things up. That's my only hope. But we'll wait for the draws tomorrow. Atlanta or Leverkusen will face off with Dortmund or Olympiacos, you know. So the knockout phase will be played between the 17th and 18th of February, as well as the 24th and 25th of February. In and around that time, that's when you usually get the final of the EFL Cup, just to point that out. Then the round of 16 and quarter-final draws will take place on the 27th of February. I do not know why they do not do these things once and for all. Then the round of 16 will take place on the 10th and /11th of March, or the 17th and 18th of March. Then the quarterfinals will be played between 7th and 8th April, and then 14th or 15th of April. That means if Arsenal make it to the quarterfinals, they have a possibility of playing a game at home before making the trip to Manchester City. So depending on who they meet at the quarterfinals, that will be interesting. Then the semifinals will be played between the 28th and 29th of April, and then 5th or 6th and 6th May will be the semifinals, and then the final will be on the 30th of May in Budapest. So that's how things will go. So let's wait for the draws to be conducted. That's on Friday, which is tomorrow. So we'll find out how teams will be playing the playoffs. So apologies if I did mix up any of those things, because the way the sheet was organized, it appeared like those teams were already facing with each other. For example, it did appear like Newcastle were playing PSG initially from the earlier table that had been shared. It appeared like Real Madrid were going to face maybe Inter Milan, and then it appeared like Juventus were going to face Atletico and things like that. So apologies if I did mix up a thing or two here and there with this new format. It's not as straightforward as ordinary would have it. But, you know, unless you guys have any questions. So guys, we have started a prediction model. We'll be working on that spreadsheet to keep track of the scorelines. What we'll be doing every weekend preview for the Premier League. We'll be making predictions we could do selected games also from other leagues, but we'll start with the Premier League. So we will be keeping track of a tally of results. So for example, we'll say if you make a perfect score prediction on a fixture, you get 3 points. If you get a win, you get 2 points, or if you get a draw, you get 2 points. That's if you predict a draw. So like that. So we'll keep that study of results until the end of the season, and we'll see how we perform with our predictions. No pun intended. So Pedri has already signed up to it. That's if he can make it for all our broadcasts. For those of you that would want to be part of that, do express your interest during the course of any of our broadcasts, and I'll add your name to the tally sheet so that we can know where you stand, and you play with us and enjoy the game with us, because it's the game is there to be enjoyed. The game is there to be enjoyed, and I think that's what we would all love to see. Anyways, it's always a pleasure to see you guys around. Meli, Adriano, Pedri, Vangria, and all of you that keep it locked on the Football Tribe UG channel. I do appreciate your time, your effort, your submissions, your contributions when you join us every single day for our respective engagements. Every morning at 9 a.m. Sometimes we come here late, but you do bear with us and stick with us. We do appreciate you a great deal. And then for those of you that do not submit comments, those of you that just like, thank you so much. Those of you that do not submit any comment, we still appreciate you anyway. Those of you that just stay behind the curtains there without saying anything, we equally appreciate you for your efforts, for dedicating the time to be with us every single day that you be with us. So yeah, um, there's an interesting fact here that Thomas Frank finished above Luis Enrique, Hansi Flick, Pep Guardiola, Diego Simeone, Antonio Conte, and Jose Mourinho in his debut UEFA Champions League season. And yet, those Tottenham Hotspur fans want him out. Why? Because things are not going well in the UEFA Champions League. So Real Madrid will play either Benfica or Bodo Glimt in the UEFA Champions League. I want Real Madrid to play Benfica. That's the fixture I want. I do support Real Madrid as well. So it's the fixture I want. I want a revenge against Jose Mourinho. How dare he embarrass us with that 4-0 defeat? Sorry, that 4-2 defeat. So that's the fixture I want. Real Madrid versus Benfica. Please, UEFA, do not fix this fixture. I want Real Madrid. Let's Inter play Bodo Glimt. Let that be the fixture. So yeah. Otherwise, stay blessed, guys, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye for now. I'll see you later.